Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we're taking a look through the second half of my Hutchinson and related publisher library, as well as my run of Guild books, Methuen Sixpennies and Toucan paperbacks, all of which were pre-war paperbacks and competitors to Penguin. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. So a few weeks back, we had a look through my first run of the numbered Hutchinson Pocket Library. We looked at their fiction run and we looked at their non-fiction run. And now we're going to look at some of the other publishers which sort of started off, as part of the Hutchinson family, but were eventually sort of absorbed into the main Hutchinson sort of library. Now, these are Gerald's Jackdaw library. And these are just part of the Hutchinson publications, but published, sort of as something a little bit different. So there's Jackdaw number 6. Here's number 8 here, and they do have slightly varying Jackdaw logos on the front. I think there's about 6 different ones in total, and they're once again numbered. So it's 6, 8, 10, and once again these Jackdaws all ended up sort of getting absorbed into the main sort of Hutchinson run. They did come with dust wrappers. Here's one with a wrapper, and they are pretty scarce. But you can see the publishing is just the same, the format and that. These are basically Hutchinson books, just under a different name. And I haven't got loads of them. There's number 14, but I got a few. 15 there. 16 in a wrapper. Number 17. 18. Let's slide those over there. Number 18 there. And I imagine that the different colours, once again, were representing different genres. 18. Not sure, Lewis Graham, if that's a Western, because the Westerns were usually in yellow. And there we are. So that's my run of Gerald's Jackdaw library. Not sure exactly off the top of my head how many they went up to, but there's 20 listed on the back, and it probably wasn't that far beyond number 20, and then the run was pretty much done. So now back to the normal Hutchinson guides, and this is the Hutchinson Pocket Guides, and these were just like the Penguin Guide series. So this is number 1, and this is the guide to Hants, Wilts, Isle of Wight and Dorset. Just like a travel guide. This one didn't have has got a wrapper. Yeah, it's got the remnants of a wrapper on it. So I think like a lot of these ones that were published in the mid to late 1930s, they did come with dust wrappers. I've got a couple more in this range. Number 3 there, Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex and Cambridge. Number 5. And then the last one I've got is number 7, which was Somerset. So again, I'm not sure exactly how many were produced. I don't know anyone who actually collects these. Anybody else? Just me. And then we've got these ones here. So this is a separate series, The Leaders of Britain. Leaders of Britain in the War. This is Winston Churchill. This one's number 4, Hutchinson again, by Lewis Broad. This one's quite nice because it's obviously Churchill. He's collected in his own right. But once again, another sort of weird sort of Hutchinson offshoot. And we got this one here. It's a crazy one. Look, the Brains Trust book. Hutchinson again. This one cost £1. Doesn't appear to be part of any particular series, but who can tell? There's Hutchinson's Universal Book Club. There is only one website that I know of which even attempts to try and decipher what's going on with all these different publishers. And that's Paperback Revolution. And I'll try and remember to pop a link to that one in the description down below. So these are Hutchinson again, but these are a little bit more lavish. This one's number 124. Not sure about the numbering on these, but I suspect that unlike the sort of plainer Hutchinsons, these were, maybe more to appeal to people on the newsstands, possibly. I really don't know. This is the Pie magazine. This is Spring Pie. It's like a miscellany magazine which Hutchinson published. So all quite interesting. we've got this one here. This is Raphael Sabatini. Now this is a Reader's Library. It looks almost like a services edition, but it's definitely not. It says it's part of the Universal Book Club, that one. Here's an obvious Western, Hutchinson's Wild West Pockets. This is part of a separate Wild West series that Hutchinson did, and they're using the yellow, which signified, in vintage times, it signified Westerns. And another slightly odd one. This is appears to me to be a one-off. Now, Hutchinson in hardback published a series, they were called A Century Of, and this is Century Entertainment, and it's almost like a tie-in to the Century Of hardback series, which I absolutely love, and I've got a full run of the hardbacks. This is just an old one that came my way when I was looking for the hardbacks, and I thought it must tie in with that hardback series. And there we are, definitely part of the Pocket Library. And Hutchinson called their Pocket Library just anything that was in sort of paperback form. So we'll put them to one side, and we'll now start on the Crime Book Society series. This is number 1. This is Gang Smasher. Once again, published by Hutchinson, but almost, you can see, in fact, that actually does say uniform with Hutchinson's Pocket Library, but it was designed to be independent. So these were people who perhaps just like the crime books. And we got a bit of a run of these. I believe these actually ran for quite some time, almost up to about 80 issues, something like that, maybe even a bit more, as we'll see. But I got a few of the earlier ones here, 6, 9. They never ever turn up in nice condition. And the ones that I've got here are really ropey, as you can see. That one's actually in its wrapper still. And very distinctive with the hand holding the gun there. That's sort of the look of these. That one's slightly better sort of condition. But you don't often see these around. I mean, I haven't actively gone out, scouring eBay or, paperback shows looking for the odd one to bolster my collection. But because they're so similar, a lot of these books so similar to the Penguins, I've ended up over time picking them up. And I've ended up with a bit of a collection, as you can see. So, but I don't mind. I love all old vintage paperbacks, as you know. And these, with their ads as well on the back, they are very, very attractive books, I think. Rum Alley. So that's up to number 69. I said I got no way near any sort of comprehensive run, but I got a few here. Now, this is a separate series again. This is a John Long Foursquare thriller. This is John Long number 4. It's an Edgar Wallace, which is quite nice. And there's another one there in the series, Max Afford, Blood on His Hands. And then we've actually got a couple more Jackdaws, which were slightly out of place, but we'll show them anyway. I think these are maybe more new editions that I picked up. So number 2, number 3, and number 5. I think they were all ones that were missing from my main run. So slightly out of position, but good to see all the same. So that, to me, is my entire sort of Hutchinson library. And we're now going to start on something very, very similar, which is the Guild Library. Right, so cracking on with the Guild books now, and once again, the series starts off. This is Guild book number 2, and it's a Churchill. What was Guild book number 1? Look at that, The Postman Always Rings Twice, by James N. Cann. So these are dated. Look, the Guild 6, which is from February 41, the Guild 9 from February 41, but the numbering, so 1 to 12, 101 to 112, the Guild 12 there, 201 upwards. And what differentiated them, I believe, is the price. So this was a Guild 6, so we got Blenheim. Sayers Return, very, very nondescript, as you can see, but also quite scarce. And Guild was an amalgam of many, many publishers, once again responding to the sudden popularity of Penguin books. It's number 10, that, number 12. Haven't quite got them all, but I've got a pretty good selection of most of the series of these Guild books. But there are many. Number 17 there. This one very, very thin. Look, it's basically a pamphlet. Number 18, can't imagine there's many of those that have survived. Then what we're on to, I'm going to try and show these in order, and then we're on to the blue ones. So a guild 9, so these they may have been sixpence, these probably were ninepence, I'm guessing. Some of them are in wrappers. I think they were all issued in wrappers initially. Yeah, ninepence. I think they were all in wrappers initially, but once again, I mean, so difficult to find in wrappers today. But you'll certainly recognise some of the names. That's a very famous one, Stamboul Train. There we are. That's a really nice early Graham Greene in paperback, and you don't often see that one. A PC Red, number 111. It looks like I've got one more blue one, but I think numerically, yeah, probably because of the price. We've got this one here. Now this one's probably a ninepence because it's got some, it says illustrated with photographs, but just a few at the back, which probably put the price up a little bit. And then we got a Steinbeck to finish off, which is quite nice. The moon is down. And then we're on to the next run up. So these are much thicker. These are in the green colours, and these were a shilling. So sixpence, ninepence, and then a shilling, basically. And that's in a wrapper. And these started at 200. Now, that one, I believe, might actually be slightly out of position. I think that's 208 or 218. So we'll go through. This is 201. And that one I've got a couple of copies of. Why have I got 2 copies? You know, I really don't know. But one's really nice in a dust wrapper. I'm sure there's a reason. Another great one there, a Fiesta by Ernest Hemingway. 204. 7. 208. Looking a little bit the worse for wear, that one. 209. 213. But you can see the attraction of these when you do get a few together. 215. I think it's 218, which is that one. Then 219. Lower price. 221. And that's the end of that series. Now here's a separate series again, and it does say this book is one of 20 titles published by the British Publishers Guild during the year 1946. And look, it lists all those different publishers who've all contributed to the Guild Books list. So they may have all put one sort of book forward, possibly. And I noticed with interest 224 on the back there. So Conan Doyle. 225, so it looks like they are numbered, if not very clearly. They're not numbered on the spine, it just seems to be on the back there. 226, and I reckon I've got quite a run of the 20. Freya Stark. I said it's funny, but I've had a few like little runs of Guild books come my way, and I've ended up with, well, a fair old selection, really. There's Postman Always Rings Twice Again. That would have been a reprint, but that was Guild Book number 1. Let's start another pile. Call the Next Witness. And these vary from a shilling to a shilling and sixpence, because these are post-war now. As I said, certainly some, I'll just get another round. There's certainly some scarcer ones in this run, which, you know, you might want to, if there's an author you particularly collect, you might want to keep your eyes peeled. But I believe we pretty much got, I've probably got them all, in all honesty. It's quite an expensive one, as you can imagine. James Joyce, highly collected. And then the last one in that particular run is D.H. Lawrence. So I think that's pretty much all of those. Now these are Guild paperbacks, which have got illustrated covers, so quite unusual. This is Payment Deferred. This is by C.S. Forster, the Hornblower author. Really, really nice. The numbering on these, look, 421. So I have no idea how many of these are made. I've only got a handful. 448, Pearless Buck. 475, Sweet Thames Run Softly. That's Robert Gibbons. Really great, famous for his woodcuts. There they are. Fantastic. Then this is a separate series again, A Foot in England. It doesn't seem to be part of any particular series. Maybe it's travel writing by the look of the books on the back. Looks like it's travel writing. Here's another anomaly. A Guild original. Soldier Sail North, James Pattison. Limited in this edition to a sale of 15,000 copies. 2 and 6, this one. And that's got O, I guess for original, .11. So you've got to be a bit of a detective with these sorts of things. So there's some Guild unusual sort of titles. And then we've got something which I'm sure people will be familiar with if you like vintage paperbacks, and that's services editions. So during the war, most publishers produced their own services editions, and I've got a few here. So they are in order because they're numbered. Now, Guild Books actually produced 2 styles of services edition. These are what I would call the digest size ones, the wide ones, and they also did them in traditional A format size. The A format ones are much, much harder to get, and some of these were sold after the war through W.H. Smith, similar to the Collins services editions. But we've got some good ones in here. There's a Forster again, and brown on resolution. That's nice. A Hemingway. I always pick these up when I find them, but I think there's something ridiculous, like, I don't know, 200 service editions. It's something crazy. No one would ever get them all. Another Robert Gibbons there, that same author we saw. Payment Deferred, Forster again. But they clearly say services edition, don't they? Now here's my only example of a thin one. So these are much, much harder to get. If you have a look, you see it's traditional A format size. These are genuinely scarce. Rumour Godden there. Just got a few more. Brother Kane. The Harsh Voice. And my last Guild Service edition is a real cracker as well. Another Graham Greene. I think that one's particularly scarce, but it was sold. Look, it was sold after the war in W.H. Smith's as surplus stock when there just wasn't enough books to go around. So, it is what it is, but I reckon that's another nice Graham Greene rarity. So just 2 more publishers to show you now from these pre-war sixpenny publishers. So these are the Toucans. I have shown these on the channel before, but I have picked up a couple recently. So this is the full run that I've got so far. This is number 1. These once again ended up being amalgamated by Hutchinson. Number 3, number 8. I really do like these. Number 9. These are all bagged up now because they've been through the old bagging process. Number 10. Very, very distinctive. Always reminds me, of course, of the Guinness logo with the toucan on it. 20. 21. I think there's about 80, something like that. 25. 43. And slide them over. Get another row in here. 44. 50. 62. That one is not numbered. The Clucking Shuttles. No number on that one. Who Screamed? Now this one here is quite interesting because by the end of it, look, it's been absorbed into the Hutchinson Pocket Library. So these toucans have just been absorbed basically. So they become part of it. And they also did a handful of services editions, of which I've got just the one, which is this one here. Much, much thicker. It only says Toucan at the top, the Toucan novels, but it looks like a Hutchinson, doesn't it? But it is a Toucan services edition, which is really, really nice. And the last publisher, just to round off this look at the pre-war sixpenny penguin imitators, is Methuen. So Methuen Sixpennies, there we are. This is Methuen number 1. And I believe there is 20 of these, and I've almost got the set, but not quite. But we'll zoom through what we got. And the early ones came in wrappers, similar to Penguin, but like so many series, you know, the closer we got to the end of the war, or the start of the war rather, the less they got published and they just fizzled out. And this is one of those series that never came back. So they were all just pre-war. This is quite a nice one. It's a P.G. Wodehouse, you know, obviously very, very collectible author. And that was quite nice, that one in a dust wrapper to boot. And classic books. And then this is my last one, which is, that's number 14. I'm sure I've got slightly later. Let's see. Yeah, these weren't in quite order, but that's actually the last one. So as far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but those 20 there, that represents the entire run of Methuen Sixpennies, and they really don't turn up very often. I think number 1 is fairly common, but beyond that, I think, you know, I just grab them when I see them, really. But yeah, worth keeping your eyes peeled for that. So there you go. That finishes off my run of those pre-war vintage paperback publishers, all of which were competing with Penguin to have a slice of that sixpenny paperback market. If you've enjoyed that video today, do please give it the thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again with another video very soon. Bye.